All right, Google Plus. Google Plus, this is my brand new Auslands rental page that is set up on Google Plus. As you can see, it's only got, I think, 8 followers or something at that point in time. 8 followers, so not many. And a lot of people go to me, why should I be on Google Plus? Well, it's hard to see here, but the search term at the top there is lens rental. That's the search term that's been put into Google. There's 10.3 million results for that very competed for keyword, lens rental. You'll see that I'm on the first page twice, and they're both Google Plus posts for those 2 keywords. Now, don't get too excited. I'm not on the first page for everybody. The only reason I'm on the first page twice is because I have interacted with my Google Plus page. Now, why am I telling you this? Because if you set up a Google Plus page and get your customers to interact with you on your Google Plus page, if they happen to go to Google and do a search for the product or service that you sell, guess who's going to appear on that page a few times? Hello? You. And if your customer or prospective customer is looking for your goods or service, do you want them to keep finding you wherever they go, yes or no? Of course you do. So by being on Google Plus and getting your customers to interact with you, now when I say interact, all they have to do is put you in their circles, okay, which is how Google Plus works. It's a bit funny. Or even if they've just visited your Google Plus page, you're likely to get ranked on the first page, your Google Plus account. And this is how powerful this is. Lens rental, very, very competitive for keyword. There's a few ads, 2 American companies, and then me. So if I was a potential customer that had looked at my page and then decided that, no, I'm just going to Google lens rental and possibly see what all the competitors are doing, I'm going to show up more than anybody else, and the likelihood that I'm going to get the business. Just to show you how these pages work on Google Plus, this one here is Photography Talk, and it's got, I don't know, 1 point something million followers and 37 million views. Okay, it's just called Photography Talk. Now, if I was Canon or Nikon, or they're not smart enough to set up pages yet, but if they were, imagine how many people they would have that were devoted to following them and communicating with them. They do have their own pages, but they still haven't worked out they need to have interest pages rather than company pages. A lot of people say to me, but man, my business is different. There's no way I could be on Google Plus. Well, here's Knitting Universe. Thousands of followers and I don't know how many views, a lot. 500,000 views to this page. 500,000 to Knitting Universe. Have you been on Google Plus today, Jeremy? Oh, just checking. But that's how powerful this stuff is, right? People are going to Google Plus. I mean, 500,000 views of a page, that's huge. Now, Knitting Universe is probably tied to a company that sells knitting goods or does knitting tutorials, or if they can benefit by being on Google Plus, every business can. Here's another example of an interest group. This is like classic and vintage BMW. Same thing again, millions of followers, millions of views. Okay, so it just shows that if we make groups, yep. So Google Plus is like Google's Facebook. It's their social media tool. So Google is a search engine. Google Plus is their social media tool. Yeah. What Google are doing though, which is interesting, is they're tying them all together. So, things like your Google Plus page, your YouTube channel, your Gmail, it's all becoming one thing. Because Google want you to run your entire business on Google. And so they've got all these new products, like calendars, they've got email, they've got Google Sites, they've got a whole bunch of stuff, and it's all free. Most of it's free. And Google want you just to be plugged into Google. I think they're slowly pushing, wanting to push Microsoft out. They'll come out with all their own, well, they have some of their own products, Google Docs, etc., where they're slowly making that headway. And Google's a big company. And 98% of Google's revenue, where do you reckon it comes from? Pay-per-click ads. 98% of their revenue. So it's in their best interest to keep you going to Google search engines. Okay, so the more they can tie you in, the better. That's more examples. Oh, that's a community. So that's another thing that you can start. So they had a page, but they've also started a community. So a community is like a closed group on Facebook or on LinkedIn, but now it's on Google Plus.